The Seagull is the first great play written by the great Russian playwright Anton Chekhov. When it was produced in 1898 by the Moscow Art Theater, this was the production by the company that can be really basically said to have been the big bang of modern theater. Chekhov himself wrote short stories, and he wrote these short stories to supplement his medical graduate school. He was going to become a doctor. He did become a doctor, and his family had fallen on hard times. He began writing, and he began writing a little story a week, and they became very popular. He got himself quite a little reputation as a humorist writer. I think he was involved, like so many Russian playwrights were, and people were at this turn of the century, in the business of trying to kind of civilize people, bring people up, be more alive, be more sensitive, be aware of each other and themselves.
It's got tremendous contemporary feel, even though the whole revolutionary quality doesn't enter into this play. This is a little island that they're on in which their human emotions are so terribly important. The feelings, this is a play filled with feelings.
He's writing at a very interesting time. He's writing, 6 years before the 1905 revolution, before really it all starts, all hell starts to break loose in Russia. So you would think that he would be a kind of pre-revolutionary writer, or that there would be omens or signs of the storm forthcoming. And indeed, in some of his plays they are. But on the whole, Chekhov doesn't write about politics. And what he writes about is the middle class. And in that sense, they're very universal.
It's a picture of a comfortable, sort of upper middle class type of people that sort of by rights create their own issues, their own problems, their own drama, and then the weight of those problems weigh heavily on them.
It's extremely Russian. It's extremely set in its period, but we all will recognize these people. I mean, Chekhov said when he was writing this play that, well, what are you writing? Well, I'm writing a play that has 6 men, 3 women, a lake, and 5 tons of love.
It's a different time period, and people carried themselves differently. That America now is so casual. I think initially people, it takes a minute to get into that way of life. These characters have the same feelings and situations as we do now.
It's just a strongly human story, about love and unrequited love and desires and dreams and hopes and ambitions, and I think that anyone can relate to that.
It's a generational thing. You see, there's the older generation, there's a middle generation, and there's a very young. And their perspective on life and their perspective on what they want of life and what they've lost in their life.
Everyone in the play is in love with someone they can't have. And so in some ways it revolves around that. There's the relationship between the mother and son, and how that's somewhat uncomfortable because the son wants to be something in life and his mother is very successful and he can't meet up to her standards. Then she is dating this younger man who is closer to his age than her own. So there's a little bit of rift in the relationship.
You see it from these different perspectives so that you get all the sense of the youth and the anticipation and hope of what, when you're young, you think you can do. And then you go to the other end of it and you say, well, it's all about what I wanted to do and couldn't do, and what I lost. Chekhov is a great writer of what's lost in life, what you feel you could have done better, what you could have been that would be better. You could be a better person than what you are.
The characters are all very dynamic in all of their own ways. They all have so much going on in their individual lives, but it's something that I think they all seem to have in common, is that they're all kind of selfish. Everyone has their own dreams and aspirations and desires, whether it's for love or for success or fame or just to go out and explore and have a fulfilling life.
It's a reflection of a life, of a world. As Chekhov said, you don't live plays, you live life. And that's pretty much what's here. If we capture that life, you will feel that you've touched on these people.
Chekhov is famous for putting the mask of comedy and the mask of tragedy together. And sometime an event which is deeply tragic seems rather funny. And sometimes an event which seems completely absurd and ridiculous seems riddled with pain and tragic.
There's a lot of humor in it. I think people hear Chekhov and assume, oh, this is sad and dark and Russian and dour and heavy, and it's that sort of pervasive melancholy through all of it that I think makes it humorous.
It's this ability to be lifelike in that sense, not shaped and organized and put together the way plays are. It's almost life before that. It's like life almost in the raw.
I think the reason why Chekhov's plays have continued on is that they're human stories. I mean, I think they're stories that, just like Shakespeare, people can relate to.
I think audiences, if they relax and just let it come to them, because it doesn't have a big super plot. My grandson said, well, what happens? And I said, well, nothing much happens. And things like, well, why would you want to go see a play? Nothing happens. You know. But if you just sit and relax and take it in and absorb yourself in their lives, you will find this as telling as any television. It's very intense in that way.
Russians really saw themselves in these plays, and they had never seen that before. They were watching The Count of Monte Cristo. They were watching swashbuckling adventures or tubercular French courtesans dying nobly, you know, and all of a sudden they were seeing themselves, and they were seeing their life right now. And in a funny way, Chekhov's plays are like that still. I mean, you look at the life on that, and there's something incredible about it, and true, and vivid, and perfectly realized that is remarkable. I mean, there's just, I don't know of another playwright who captures ordinary life so extraordinarily well.